So within this video, I'm going to walk you through how systems for scaling, X-ray, and actually scale businesses behind the scenes. Personally, I think this is a very important video for someone that's actually considering to join systems for scaling and partner with systems for scaling before they consider actually scaling their actual coaching, consulting, or agency business. So within this video, I actually want to walk you through the entire process, what the process looks from A to actually Z, and show you entirely behind the scenes what do we implement to scale actual businesses. So let's get straight to it. Before we get into any frameworks or systems, I want you to understand a little bit more about the context. As Systems for Scaling, we have helped over 100 plus coaches, consultants, and agency owners to scale their businesses, not with actual hype, not with shortcuts, but with actual real structure and actual real systems. So we do not sell you hacks. We do not focus on secrets. We do not focus on actual cheat codes. We focus on structures and actual systems in real time that have been tested and proven to work for many other businesses that can be installed inside of your business to scale your actual business. Overall, we have worked with coaches that stuck at anywhere between 5 to 10K a month, who have scaled past the 100K a month, consultants who went from inconsistent income to predictable actual pipelines, agency owners who have crossed into seven figures after years of actually being stuck inside of their business. In a nutshell, overview, to give you a bit of bird's eye view, we only work with coaches, consultants, or agency owners that have above 2K offer and they are generating minimum of 5 to 10K a month. And I don't mean that you had one spike month that you made 5 or 10K. What I'm looking for is consistently, at least for 3 consecutive months, you made 5 to 10K inside of your actual business. And here's the important part. Most of the businesses weren't actually broken before they actually came to us. They already were making some money. They already had proof of concept validated and offered in their actual marketplace for people that actually were looking what they were selling and actually buying to what they were selling. So they already knew what they were actually doing. But there was a big problem. And the big but was that they were actually stuck. Revenue was inconsistent. Growth really felt fragile. Every month felt like actually starting over. I know this pattern well myself because I actually lived it. My business was based on actually the paddling effect, which means like you jump on a bike and you paddle. And the more you paddle, the more the bike moves forward. But the moment you stop paddling, that's the moment when the bike actually stops. And this effect happened the same when I tried to build and scale so many businesses, was the paddling effect, where I had to invest so much energy, so much motivation. I had to motivate myself to actually put energy inside of the business. And the moment there was no energy invested in the business was the moment when the business actually stopped working. So I have built businesses that worked and then actually collapsed based on the actual paddling effect. Not because I didn't work hard, not because I lacked ambition, but because I made decisions without actual systems. And when I mean systems that actually provide data to understand which of my activities are the most important activities and what do I really need to do right now to grow my business. Not on random acts where I just have to invest a lot of energy to grow business. Yes, maybe at the start you are required to invest a lot of energy because that's the only resource and the only data you have is your energy, right? And the more you invest your energy, the more your business will move forward. But at some point you will burn out. Like I have seen so many coach consultants and agency owners, including myself, burning out. It's like you can maintain high inputs inside of your business for very long periods of time just based on actual energy. You need something more sophisticated, and that sophistication comes from actual systems. Okay. So what we learned through failure and repetition is very simple. Most businesses don't need more actual tactics. What they need is clarity, they need diagnosis, and they need a system that shows them what actually matters. It's the same as having a coach 24/7 living with you. The coach will tell you based on your goals, based where you're actually going, based on what you want, will tell you what exactly you need to do today in order for you to achieve that big goal. And the system serves the same to an actual any business, any coaching, consulting, or agency business. The system will tell you is what we will be doing today, not what you think you should be doing, not what you think or guessing what will grow your business, but the system will exactly tell you what you need to be doing today. So I made this video to walk you through behind the scenes of how systems for scaling diagnoses businesses and scales them step by step. So at the core, let's talk about a little bit X-raying actual problems and scaling, right? So most people think scaling means adding more leads, more ads, more content, more people. Okay. Many times when I speak to so many coaches, consultants, and agency owners, it's like, hey, I really need to get better quality leads. I want to get more quality leads. I need more leads. I want to invest more in ads to scale my business. Usually, When we talk about this, we disagree totally. Scaling starts with understanding cause and actual effect. Because there are a couple things. Revenue doesn't just fluctuate randomly. It doesn't fluctuate because you want it to fluctuate, okay? Sales don't slow down by accident. Like, there's a reason they slow down. Businesses don't plateau also for no reason. There's always a constraint. Our job is not to push harder, is not to work harder. It's not to motivate, clap our hands and say we can do it. Our job is to find the constraint, and once we have found it, is to actually remove it. So there's a question we ask every single business. First of all, we slow everything down immediately, and most founders are, instead of actually actively responding, they are reacting instead of actually thinking. So there's a question that we ask, and this question is, what outcome do you want to happen consistently inside of your business? Not your best month, what you want the best month look like, not your biggest win, what you want, but what do you want to happen predictably? Because once we understand that, it's like the actual mission. Because if we make that one thing happen predictably inside of your business, we know we will actually scale your business and your business will actually grow. One thing. So, example, it could be 10 to 15 qualified calls per week. It could be 5 to 10 high ticket clients per month. It could be 30, 50, 100K a month without actual volatility. And this is clear, nothing else really matters because we don't have what we will be focused on. First, we need to understand the main target we'll be shooting at. What is the main thing? And then we can really adjust our scope. We can really laser in, and that's when we can really start shooting the actual target. So the systems for scaling diagnostic actual framework. Every business is broken into actual 4 layers. We have number 1, demand, number 2, conversion, number 3, delivery, number 4, feedback and actual decision making. Most businesses, by the way, most coaches, consultants, and agency owners only focus on one layer, okay? We diagnose all 4 of them because once we get all 4 of them, we can really understand what needs to happen next inside of coaching, consulting, or agency business in order for that business to actually grow, and what systems we need to install in the first place to grow that business. So let's start with layer number 1, which is the demand. Where is the actual attention coming from, right? What are you currently doing that you are bringing attention inside of your business? So we ask you a simple question. Where do your leads actually come from today? Not yesterday, not the last month, not the last year, today. Where is your attention coming from? Not where you want it to come from, not what used to work, but what is working right now inside of your business. So we look at lead sources, consistency, quality, and actual control. Okay, lead sources meaning what platforms or what you are doing to bring in leads and get that attention. Consistency, how consistently you are actually doing it. Quality, what is the quality of the leads that are coming, and the actual control of how much control you have to actually convert them. Okay, if leads spike and disappear, that's not scaling, that's volatility. And there's a rule: no predictable demand equals no scalable business. So let's move into layer 2, which is conversion. What happens after somebody raised their hand, after somebody got interest? So what happens when somebody raises their hand and say, hey, I'm actually interested? The biggest pain is this is where most businesses actually leak money. So we examine qualification, sales structure, decision flow, and actual close rates. So usually I hear my leads that are getting in are not really qualified. They're not qualified, and then when I jump on a call, usually they can't make a decision, or there's a problem in making a decision. It's usually a long closing cycle. Sometimes, most of the times, they can't afford it. It's because you may have not the right filtering system. You may not have the right qualification system and processes installed. You may not also have what happens after they book in that call. Do you actually nurture them, or you maybe just let them slide until they slide on the actual call, and then you think that trust will be built on the actual call, which is usually very wrong. Because I have seen many times, and this is a fact, the moment somebody books in the call, they really want to understand more what the call is and what is the actual value of that call. And if you can't really digest that for them, then when they jump on that actual call, they will not build so trust with you so easily. It usually takes time. And how do you know when somebody doesn't trust you? There's a lot of objections. There's first of all a lot of objections. There are hardcore objections. Even when you overcome objections, there's more objections. There's more resistance on the actual call. But if you do it right, and if you do it right with the right systems, with the right processes, then that's where the actual objections become much softer. Okay, and sometimes you even don't get an objection. Sometimes it's like, what is the actual next steps to get started? Okay, so again, we examine 4 things: qualification, sales structure, decision flow, and actual close rates. Most sales problems are not closing problems. They are qualification failures upstream. If the wrong people get on calls, nothing will convert. So if you want more of unqualified leads, that still will not give you the solution you're looking for. That's just going to give you a bigger problem, more actual wasted time. So we need to get more of the right leads. And the way we actually do it, like I already told you before, is installing qualification actual systems inside and processes inside of your businesses. So layer 3, delivery. Can the business actually handle the scale? Most of the time, I will tell you absolutely not. I have seen coaches, consultants, and agency owners where it's just my fulfillment is my energy. My fulfillment is my energy, meaning like I have to do the work manually to fulfill. So what happens if you get 20 clients? Can you manually actually fulfill them? Sometimes I see a lot of coaches are even doing one-on-one calls. So let's say if you have 100 people that need to have a call on Friday, can you do 100 calls on Friday? Yes, you may think, well, I will just diversify them over different days. But really, is that really helping you to build your business or just taking your energy away from your business? That's the question you should be asking. So this is where many businesses actually break. If this business doubled down tomorrow, this is the question, would it survive? Would your business survive if it doubled down tomorrow? Most actually wouldn't. Founders are involved in everything. Too many hats you are wearing. Sometimes you're doing the marketing, we're doing the DMs, we're doing the cold outreach, we're doing the emailing, we're doing the admin stuff, we're doing the fulfillment stuff, we're doing the onboarding, we're doing the payment, we're doing the pay, and we're doing also the tech support. And so now you are being 10 people in one business, you yourself, and that's not scalable. Whatever you tell me, that's not scalable because plus you also have to do fulfillment, right? So delivery relies on effort instead of actual process. That becomes a problem. Clients depend on personalities, not actual systems. You cannot scale what is already fragile because once we scale what is fragile, we know it will break very quickly. So we stabilize delivery before we actually are scaling the demand. Okay. Then we move into the fourth layer. Okay, so this is the 4 layers of business. We covered the first three. We covered the delivery, we covered the conversion, and we also covered the demand. Let's move into the fourth, which is feedback and decision making, the actual core of the system. And this is the most important layer of all of them. Okay, so we ask, how are decisions made in this business, right? Most founders decide based on a couple things. They based on stress, like I'm super stressful, I need to do this, or I need to be firefighting, or I have deadlines, or I just feel like I need to do this. Based on emotion, you may be watching an ad, you'll be like, hey, he's making money, I need to build and go build a funnel. Or you may be saying, hey, look, this is really working, let me try that as well. Or short-term wins or losses. These 3 things, most founders base their decisions on these 3 things: stress, emotion, short-term wins or losses. We at Systems for Scaling replace that with actual feedback, because there's nothing better in the marketplace as actual feedback. If marketplace is giving you an actual feedback and telling you, hey John, instead of doing currently XYZ, we need to do ABC, and the ABC will help us to understand the objective A, and based on understanding the objective A, we then will understand if this is working, rather than just saying, hey, let me just do anything just to get to the A. If a marketplace is giving you feedback, giving you raw data to understand what are the next steps, what do we need to do, what do we need to execute, what is the system telling us? Not what do I need to, what I'm thinking to do, but what is the system telling us, right? So we define 4 key factors. Inputs. These are what you control. If you control the inputs and you understand the inputs that need to be installed inside of your business every single day, then the outputs, what you want, will happen for themselves. If you don't know what you need to do in terms of inputs or what you actually control, you will not get the outputs, meaning what you want. Number 3, leading indicators. Number 4, lagging indicators. This is where chaos turns into actual clarity, because we're understanding what are the inputs that in order for us to get to the actual outputs. Most coaches, consultants, and agency owners, when they think they are scaling, they kind of like, let me put more inputs so I can get maybe the outputs. But the maybe is not what actually scales. We need to really hit the nail on the head. And if you can't hit the nail on the head, then your business isn't scaling. So finding the real bottleneck. Here's a rule we actually live by. You only fix one thing at a one time, not everything, because most business try to fix everything and usually it ends up fixing absolutely nothing. So we identify what is the single constraint holding back right now your business? What is it? Once we understand it, then we design the systems to actually remove it. Scaling is actually sequential, not actually chaotic. So there's a sequence we follow. We may look at the main three constraints inside of your business, but which is the biggest constraint that's holding you back? Because maybe by removing the biggest constraint, all the two constraints will solve themselves. And this is super important, okay? Why this works across all businesses. So why the process actually works for coaches, consultants, and agency owners? Because it removes actual guessing. Okay, so you stop asking what should I try next or what should I do today, and you start really asking yourself, hey, what does the actual system say? So it's like you actually have an x-ray that shows you which bones are broken, which bones are okay, and which bones need to be actually healed. And what does it take for us to actually get to the healthy state of a business where the actual business grows? Without you having a system that gives you data and telling you, hey, you need to do this and you need to do that in order for you to grow, or you need to fix this or you need to change, you are just guessing. And most of the times, most businesses, like, they have amazing founders, they have amazing coaches, they have amazing consultants, they're amazing agencies, and they're lovely people with beautiful souls. But the problem is they don't really know what they are doing that can either grow or scale a business. And if you say you do everything today, then let me ask you a question. Can you point your finger directly to that one thing that actually scaled your business? And if you can, then we are guessing. And if we are guessing, then that doesn't mean that we are actually scaling businesses. It means we're randomly trying to do something. It's the same. Let's give you a concept. It's the same as you want to charge your phone, right, in a dark room, and you take the plug and you try to plug it inside of the socket in a dark room. You would try so many times because you probably won't do it on the first time. But the moment you switch on the light, it's as clear as a day where the actual socket is in order for you to plug that in and charge your phone. And the same here with the systems. If you have a system, it's clear as a day what you need to do in order for you to actually scale your business. So a quick health check, and before I do a quick health check, just let me have a sip of water. So if your business feels heavy, unpredictable, emotionally draining, it's not because you are bad at business. It doesn't mean that you really suck. It's because you simply don't have a system installed inside of your business. Because systems don't kill actual ambition, they actually protect it. They protect your time. So instead of you taking all your valuable time that you could be maybe spending even with your daughter, you could be spending with your family, you could be spending with your son, you could be spending going to the gym, you could be spending doing something you love, we can make that happen when you have a right system. But when you don't have the right system, all of those other things are taken away from you because you're kind of like, hey, what is working? And let me just throw everything that I have, right? Let me just put all my energy towards it. But when you have a system, it protects your time, it protects your calendar, it helps you to deal with the right people at the right time, helps you to, when the leads are coming in, it helps you to deal with the right leads. Okay? So moving on, the 4 pillars of system of scaling. Okay, what is the process? And why are processes really bulletproof? These 4 pillars are followed in actual order. Skipping one breaks the entire system. So pillar number 1 is clarity. What are we actually building? Okay, most businesses skip this and pay for it actually later because they don't understand what they're building. They are like, how can I actually grow the business? Instead of asking like, what are we building out? So the first thing we do is we slow everything down. Okay, and again, we define what success actually looks like. What consistent means, not best months, right? So like, what do we need to happen? Like we talk about the consistency again, and what outcomes must happen predictably, okay? And then we ask what needs to happen every week for this business to work without actual stress. That's the big question. Until this is clear, strategies don't matter, tactics don't stick, and effort gets wasted, right? So we define what success actually looks like, what consistent means, so not the best months, and what outcome must happen predictably. And then we understand a couple things. Clarity removes noise because noise kills the actual growth. Noise is like when you don't have understanding what's happening and you're just trying to do everything. You may look at an ad and you may think, hey, that's a good funnel. I just need to rip it off, try it. You may look at, hey, he's doing his videos like this. Let me try that. Maybe that's gonna give me. Or look, these are the 3 things to say in a video in order for me to go viral. And you're kind of going everything. You want to do a viral video. You want to build a funnel. You want to run an ad. You want to do a cold DMs. And you're doing so many things with like kind of, hey, push the brakes and say, what is the one thing that actually will grow my business? What do I need to build to grow my business, right? Because once you have clarity, you have clear understanding like where we're going, what needs to happen. Without clarity, you are just living in noise. So then pillar two, which I like to call X-ray, where is the real constraint, right? That's what we need to ask. Where is the real constraint? Once clarity exists, so now we understand what we are building, what we want, what needs to happen predictably, let's ask ourselves, where's the real problem? What's the real constraint? Every business operates across 4 layers: demand, conversion, delivery, and decision making. We already covered them. Most founders try to fix only one, like I already told you. That never works, and it will never work. We identify one constraint, the single bottleneck holding the business back right now. Scaling is not about fixing everything, it's about fixing the right thing in the right order in the right time. Okay? This is where most people actually fail because they try to do everything. Pillar three, we focus on system design, removing the founder dependency. Okay, dependency means when you are wearing too many hats, let's remove them. Let's remove them to fewer hats. Fulfillment, taking the payments, and doing maybe the sales calls. Okay, so pillar three, system design, removing founder dependency. And also when I talk about sales calls, we usually would also help you to get closers inside of the business as well. Okay, so once the bottleneck is clear, we design a system to actually remove it. This is where hustle gets replaced by actual structure, emotions get replaced by actual data, and most importantly, we are replacing emotions with actual data. It's the same as you go in financially investing in financial markets. You may do Forex, you may do Bitcoin, but we only base those decisions on data. Because once you are emotionally invested, there's a saying, once you try to invest emotionally, you are actually gambling, not investing. Okay? So the same for business. We don't want to be just gambling with our actual energy. We want to be investing our energy so we have the right ROI. So chaos turns into actual predictably with the right system. Okay? We don't add complexity, we like to remove fragility. So every system is designed to answer one question: what must happen consistently for growth to be certain? Okay, so like 100% the growth can actually happen. If it can be tracked, reviewed, and adjusted, it's not an actual system. So that's when I go again, it's like we're trying to do everything. We're trying to do so much, invest in a business. But when I asked you the question even before, can you point your finger at the one thing that's currently growing your business? Or like, what is the one thing that you do today that actually helps you to grow your business? And if you can't, I don't know. You can't just say, "Hey, I did all these things to grow my business, or I did all the DMs to grow my business." But what is the one thing? Like, what did you say to get that person on the call, right? How did you do it? Where did you find platform? Like, what time did you do it, right? All of these things matter. The small details matters. And if you can really place your finger on the smallest thing of telling, hey, this small thing creates that big thing, and that big thing creates that even in a bigger thing, and that's exactly what scaled my business today, then you don't have a system. But if you can say that, then you have a system. Pillar four, feedback and decision control, the scale engine. So this is the pillar that makes everything bulletproof. Okay, we install feedback loops, so decisions are no longer actually emotional. Every system tracks inputs, what you actually control, which you are doing today, outputs, what you want to where you actually want to go, leading indicators, what predicts success, and lagging indicators, what already happened. This allows founders to, number one, stop reacting, stop guessing, and stop actually panicking. And instead of asking, what should I do next? Like I said already, we ask the question, what does the actual system say? And that is the actual leverage. So how these 4 pillars work together? Clarity tells us where we are actually going. Diagnosis tells us what is broken, system design removes dependency, and feedback ensures long-term actual scale. If we miss one pillar, growth will actually collapse. Okay? We follow all 4, and growth becomes predictable and certain inside of any coaching, consulting, or agency business. And this is the entire process we go to actually scale businesses. There's a process we follow, and this is the exact process. So now I really hope you really understand clearly what is the entire process of how we actually scale businesses, why this process is actually bulletproof. You understand our 4 pillars. You understand the questions we ask. You also understand how we find bottlenecks in the business. You also understood the 4 layers. You understood the 4 layers of demand, so which is like where you get your attention, conversion, what happens after, delivery, and then also feedback and decision making. We went also through the diagnostic framework, which is demand, conversion, delivery, and feedback decision more in actual detail. We went through the questions we ask. We went through actually scaling and how the X-ray problem affects more businesses and what they actually think is the symptoms. We went through so many things, so I hope this really helped you to better understand how systems for scaling scales actual businesses. And if you are currently a coach, consultant, an agency owner that wants to really scale and have a system like this installed inside of your business, that you can book a call with a link down in the description. We will jump on a call, audit your business. We'll walk through four layers together, understanding what's happening in your business. And from there, if you are a great fit to work together, we will actually help you to install the system. And even better, we will actually give you actual guarantee. Okay.